Hello, we are from Group C. We will share to you guys about Chapter 5 in Principle of Economics. That is the elasticity of demand and supply. This chapter will explain to us about the concept of elasticity, the measure of the relative response of one variable resulting from a change in another variable. We want to present the specifically on price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. Now I will share about elasticity of demand supply. Elasticity can be defined as the rate of change of the quantity demand or quantity supply due to a change in variable. What is variable? A variable is a factor of determinant that affects the quantity demand or quantity supply, consumer's income, or the price of other goods, with the assumption of ceteris paribus.
Price elasticity. We have price elasticity for demand and supply. So for the price elasticity demand, the definition is measure of responsiveness in quantity demand for a goods in change of its price. So the formula is percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in price. For price elasticity for supply, the definition is measure of responsiveness in quantity supply of a goods in change of price of the goods. So the formula is percentage change in quantity supply divided by percentage change in price. Next, we have degree of price elasticity. We have 5 degree of price elasticity. For the first one is perfectly inelastic, when elasticity is equal to 0. Like what we can see here, the demand curve and supply curve is vertical, and also the curve is parallel to price axis. This is because change in price does not affect any change in quantity demand or quantity supply. Number 2, we have inelastic curve, when elasticity is smaller than 1. Like what we can see, the curve is quite steep. The percentage change in price is greater than quantity percentage change in quantity demand and supply. Number 3, unitary elasticity, when elasticity is equal to 1. So the percentage change in price and percentage change in quantity demand and supply is equal. So the shape of this curve called hyperbola. Number 4, elastic, when elasticity is greater than 1. So the what we can see here, the curve is slopy. This is because the percentage change in price is smaller than percentage change in quantity demand and quantity supply. Number 5, perfectly elastic, when elasticity is equal to infinity. So for demand, number 5, perfectly elastic, when elasticity is equal to infinity. For demand, consumer will demand the product if the price is fixed, but if the price is increased or higher, the product will not be demanded. So for the supply, if the price of the goods is increased, so the quantity supply will increase infinitely. Importance of price elasticity. For demand, we have price policy, the supplier can consider to lowering the price to make their demand increase. And next, we have shifting of tax burden. So the supplier or the producer can shift their tax burden to consumer by increasing the price. Next, we have taxation and subsidy. Government can impose higher tax or lower tax. For supply, we have housing supply, like housing web, and then we have commodity price, and last but not least, government intervention in markets.
Income elasticity of demand. So the definition is measure responsiveness of quantity demand for particular goods in change of consumers' income. So the formula is percent change in quantity of demand per divide by percentage change in income. Degree of income elasticity. So degree of income elasticity have two parts, normal goods and inferior goods. What is normal goods? Normal goods have a positive income elasticity of demand. Consumers' income rises more is demand at each price. So normal goods have two parts, necessary good and luxury good. Necessary goods, positive income elasticity but less than 1 or between 0 and 1. Luxury goods is positive income elasticity but more than 1. And inferior goods is negative income elasticity. What is negative income elasticity? This is demand fall as income rises.
Degree of income elasticity demand can be divided into three parts, which are positive, zero, and negative. For positive, it has three fraction value of elasticity, which are E smaller than 1, E equal to 1, and E bigger than 1. First thing first, the value of elasticity is equal to 1 is called as unitary income elasticity of demand. The percentage change in quantity demand is equal to the percentage change in income. For example, restaurant meals and cars. Secondly, value of elasticity smaller than 1 is called as inelastic income elasticity. The percentage in quantity demand is smaller than percentage in income. For example, fish, book, and chicken. Last, for positive degree of income elasticity of demand is called as elastic income elasticity. The value of elasticity is bigger than 1. The percentage change in quantity demand is bigger than percentage change in income. For example, luxury cars and branded watch. So now we talk about degree of income elasticity equal to 0. Any increase income will not change the quantity demand. It is because usually the government control the price of the goods. For example, such rice and electricity. Last but not least, negative degree of income elasticity of demand value is E smaller than 0. This happening when increased income cause decreased quantity demand, and vice versa. For example, clothes from charity shop and cheap bread. So this is the importance of income elasticity of demand. They are divided by 4 types, which are sales forecasting, pricing policy, classification of normal and inferior goods, and marketing strategy. First, sales forecasting. It is deciding on what goods to produce and how a change in income level in the economy will affect the demand for various goods. Secondly, pricing policy. can be defined as the firm can decide whether to raise or lower prices following a change in consumer income. Thirdly, classification of normal and inferior goods is the concept of income elasticity of demand can also be used to define normal and inferior goods. Last but not least, marketing strategy. This concept of income elasticity of demand can be useful in developing marketing strategy. They can maintain their sales by concentrate in posting or promoting their product in media.
Assalamualaikum and hello to my handsome sir, Sir Ramdan and my fellow friends. My name is Muhammad Syahir bin Supian and I am from JA 2B. Today, I would like to share a few things about the cross elasticity of demand, which is the last subtopic of elasticity. The cross elasticity of demand can define as measures the responsiveness in the quantity demand when a change in price take a place in other goods. There are only one formula for this subtopic, which is percent change in quantity demand goods B divided by percent change in price of goods A. So it means there are involved two types of goods. So let's go to the example. As we can see, there are two diagrams, which is price of goods Z and quantity demand, which is price 1.2 ringgit and 1.6 ringgit, and quantity demand 12 and 8. So the amount we can put in our formula, which is change in quantity demand and divide by quantity price and multiply price goods and divide by quantity demand. After we calculate, we can get our final answer, which is -1. There are three types of cross elasticity, which are positive, negative and zero. For positive, increase in price of one product will increase the quantity demand for another product. In other words, substitute goods. For example, Ovaltine and Milo. As we can see in the graph, if the price of Pepsi increase, so quantity demand for Coke will increase, because we cannot afford the Pepsi, so we choose the Coke. Number 2, zero cross. It means increase in price of one product will not affect the quantity demand. For example, fruit and ice cream. As we can see in graph, if the price of X increase, the quantity demand of Y not change. So if the price of X increase in higher, the quantity demand of Y still not change. Number 3, negative cross. It means increase in price of one product will decrease the quantity demand. For example, shoes and socks. In graph, we can see if the price of X increase, so quantity demand for Y will decrease. For example, if the price of shoes is increased, so quantity demand for socks is decreased, because we wear shoes with socks. Last but not least, there are a few important of cross elasticity. Firstly, classification of goods. When the cross of elasticity of demand between any two goods positive, the goods may be considered as substitute goods for each other. If the cross is greater, then the goods are closer substitutes. If the cross is infinite, the goods are perfect greater. Secondly, classification of markets. If the cross is infinite, the market is perfectly competitive. If the cross is zero, the market structure is a monopoly. Thirdly, pricing policy. Large firms produce different rated goods. For example, Gardenia. Everybody know about Gardenia. Gardenia has produced different rated goods such as bread and jams with the different price. Lastly, Determination of boundaries between industries. If related goods have negative cross, which means complementary goods, the goods belong to different industries. But if the related goods have positive cross, which means substitute goods, the goods belong to one industry. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.